Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's Thursday. Time to get smart. Steve Carlton, our financial wizard, is back.
Thank you.
First Vice President, Johnny Montgomery Scott.
Thanks, Jesse. Always good
to be here.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Actually, I'm surprised you're here today. And the reason is that if I heard one more thing about the economy, housing numbers, unemployment numbers, the stock market, all right, so you're going to have to tell us.
Cork and celebrating.
Tell us everything. Let's start with the market.
Oh, yeah. So we had a great day in the market today. Some really encouraging signs. We had, I think we're at the 28th high for the S&P. We had a new intraday high for the S&P 500. Had a new high for the NASDAQ.
Wow.
And, it's been one record number after the next. And so, with all that's going on in the world, with all the uncertainty in the Middle East and then the tragedy and some of the very sad things that are going on there, the difficulty in the Ukraine, Europe slowing down and everything else, and yet here we are in the United States still having some very, very positive and encouraging things.
Well, you know what? If I understand you correctly from previous times that we've spoken about this, the dollar in that case becomes kind of a safe haven.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Right? So there's more investment in the dollar.
Yeah, we've seen the dollar ramp up over 82 cents. When I look at the basket of currencies against the yen or the sterling, the British pound, the euro, the Canadian dollar, and some of these other currencies, there's a flight to safety. And so, when other parts of the world are not paying enough interest or there's instability economically, like I said, Europe's having some challenging, market indicators there. Money's flowing back to the States. And so it's this, we talked about this a few months ago, this ebb and flow and a lot of nervousness and panic about which direction we're going to go. And there's a lot of mixed signals. And I said, be careful not jumping and, going back and forth without really getting a gauge on things.
So that our viewers and myself better understand, what's this unemployment information that came out today? It sounded positive to me.
Yeah, it is. And this is the trend. I keep kind of beating on this, this data point again and again. This trend has been improving. And this is the initial claims, the amount of people that are claiming unemployment, losing their jobs. That number is improving. Every report keeps getting better. There's a slight variation last week, but overall this number keeps improving. And that means we're gaining further employment. There's more people gaining jobs.
Right.
There's less people getting laid off.
If I understand it, the benchmark for that is kind of 300,000. You get below 300,000.
Yeah, around 250, 300 is a sweet spot, yeah.
I got it, all right. And we're starting to hit that number, which we have not hit since 2007, maybe? 2006?
We're at a level now that goes back to probably June, July of 2007.
Wow.
So the total number of claims, initial claims, we're back to that level, which is, again, a very high level watermark in the market.
Yes, got it.
So we got other encouraging news. The manufacturing index, the housing index. The housing index, new construction, sales, and everything else, that improved, and it was a strong improvement over a number of months. And so the manufacturing in the U.S. manufacturing improved better than even the most rosy expectations.
Wow.
So, we've got Janet Yellen, the federal chairperson, who's going to be speaking tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of attention paid to that. That's going to be a really important indicator on how long we keep interest rates low. And it's going to be difficult because of the stock market taking off and going higher. There's going to be a lot of pressure to raise interest rates.
Yes, right.
And so we'll be paying attention to that. But right now, interest rates, talking about the 30-year mortgage rates last week, we're saying at 4% or better. They're still there. So this may be one of those last moments to catch a refinancing or buying a house.
Well, everybody pays very, very close attention to what the Fed chair says.
Yeah.
So when she comes out, and that has almost an immediate effect on her. I don't know. I mean, you know me. A lot of this information makes me dizzy, except for the one thing that I always remember. You're the expert, and you always say, don't panic. I want to jump off the roof sometimes. Yeah. And you're like, no. Steve's advice to me is, just please, let me take care of this. I'm going to be watching these numbers and, setting up certain parameters and certain guidelines. And you don't waver from that, right? What does this kind of information, how does it affect your thinking? What do you do?
Yeah, what I kind of compare it to sometimes is I think people look at the stock market as it's either up or down.
Yes, right.
It's either on fire or it's collapsing. And so it's kind of like a
on
light
or
switch.
Off, right.
On or off. I see the economy more as a dimmer switch. And so we had this expectations coming in the beginning of the year of 4% growth for the economy, massive earnings and everything else, and everything was a very, very rosy picture. I think we've had to adjust our expectations a little bit lower. I think they were a little bit too robust, and the earnings guidance that we're seeing from all sorts of cross-section of the economy He's saying we're being a little bit too optimistic. That doesn't mean the end of the world, though. And I think that's where that light switch on-off, I kind of say to people, okay, let's adjust our expectations and dial it back a little bit. But there is a lot of positive things there. And when I see the money coming back into the economy, see the money coming back into the stock market, there's a lot of investors that were sitting on the sidelines, a lot of hedge funds that got out and were sitting in cash, and they are coming back in. And so this is the back to school season. You know, in 2 weeks we got Labor Day coming up. So the back to school numbers, we're coming in the fall with the election. There's a lot of indicators that are going to happen over the next 6-8 weeks. So I'm really paying attention to those things. I'm all about just managing expectation.
Yeah, right. You always say that. And we'll also have the elections coming up. They always have an effect on it.
Huge effect, yeah.
Well, we're in the heart of summer here. Travers is coming up this weekend. On the local scene, from what I've seen in Saratoga and Glens Falls and Lake George, people are out.
Yeah,
they're
oh my
about,
goodness, yes.
you know, and of course Travers is the high point in the Saratoga season.
Yeah.
That's comforting. News that we've been reporting on this week, kind of mixed news. The Glens Falls Civic Center did set last Monday for the auction.
Right.
They didn't get any bidders, and now they're considering, the city council is considering accepting a seal bid for it. That'll have some effect because, you know, regardless of what happens at the Civic Center, new owners will come in, obviously make changes. Everybody does. Upgrade something, update something, and of course, then that burden is off the city.
I think that's a logical, smart move for the mayor. I think that taking that monkey off their back and letting this take another chapter and maybe go another direction, let the city focus on some other things. Yeah, I think this is the next progression. I think we would have liked to see the auction go better, but you know, I think overall this is longer term a better opportunity.
You know, it just might be there because you do see that, especially downtown Glens Falls. Just every day is just there's something going on.
There's a lot of activity.
I just really like to see that.
Yeah, you know, keep our fingers crossed. It'll be
all
exciting.
right. So you and I, should we choose to accept it, is breakfast at the track tomorrow?
Oh, we've got to do that. Yeah, it's
our
my
annual
favorite thing.
breakfast at the track.
Yes, Travers Weekend. Yes, I'm on. Yes.
And it's not the $30 buffet, by the way. This is, we go to Mrs. London's, grab a couple of croissants, some heavy coffee, and over you go, right?
Yes, please. I'd love to.
Good.
Okay, thanks, Jesse.
Then I'll see you then.
A deal.
To see this interview, please head to our website, looktvonline.com. Now let's take a look at events happening in your neighborhood.